On those occasions when you need to make a big splash, there's the Super Soaker 100. It has a powerful air pressure system.
Oh, Buffy!
A range of up to 60 feet. And a drenching spray. The Super Soaker 100.
It's a water gun of a higher caliber.
Also the 50, or the ultimate, the 200.
All right, hey guys, with summer in full swing and Labor Day just around the corner, I figured what better time than to take a look at the iconic Super Soaker. Now, if you were growing up in the 80s and mainly late 90s, you remember every summer having those epic water pistol and water balloon fights. Now, of course, you could always just have those little generic ones that you got at your local corner store that were shaped like a little ray gun or an imitation pistol. But if you really wanted to be king of the block, you needed a Super Soaker. Invented by former NASA scientist Lonnie Johnson in 1984, originally called the Power Drencher, he was originally trying to come up with a system for a water heating tank. Realizing that he had something that would catch on all over the world, he brought his invention and patent to well-known toy manufacturer Entertech and told them that he had a new type of water gun that could outperform their battery-powered models. Once they got a look at his patent and saw how much this thing could do and how it outperformed their battery-powered models, they immediately offered him a contract, and his Super Soaker models began selling all over the world in summer of 1989. They became a huge hit all over the world and were licensed by Larami. Over the past 20 years, there were so many different makes of Super Soaker models that I lost track. Probably 30 plus different makes were made. You had the original, which of course, this is the Super Soaker 50. This is one that I had growing up, the iconic bright fluorescent yellow and green tank. And the key thing behind the Super Soakers that made them such a game changer was because you could pump them up and you could continue to have this huge stream of water that would shoot out of these. And this, being the Super Soaker 50, meant that it could shoot over 50 feet or more. And plus, with the refillable tanks up top, there's no way one of those little handheld water pistols could stand a chance against these. Now, of course, you had other models as well. You had the Super Soaker 100, which is a huge upgraded model, even has an extra air tank for extra pressure, and this thing is just ridiculous. These were the two basic models that first came out in 1989. And then you had other models too, which unfortunately I don't have, but the most popular series were, you had the XP, the XXP, you had the CPS, or the constant pressure system, which I did have at one point. You also had the Power Charger series and the MDS, which was the multi-directional series, which you could actually turn the handle to angle it around corners and things like that. You had Super Soakers that had backpacks, double and triple tanks, handles you could carry them around with. You had ones that had straps. I mean, they were ridiculous. Whatever you could imagine, and all these awesome bright fluorescent colors. Larami and Super Soaker had one for you. They were made by the Super Soaker line in Larami up until around 2010 when they were bought out by Nerf. And Super Soakers today, they're still in production. There's a new line of the retro ones that came out in last fall of 2020, where you can still find them in Targets and Walmarts. I know walking around, I don't know how well they're in stock now, but I've seen them in stores, and it's awesome to see these things back on store shelves. So those are the two Super Soaker models that I have here that I'm going to fill up and we're going to test out today and see how well they still work. And I've also got a couple of other things. This is the Super Soaker XTC Extra Tank Carrier. So, well, I can't really test this out. Just kind of another neat Super Soaker accessory that I have here. And what this is, it's missing the belt, but it's basically an extra set of tanks that you could you would put on a belt. And then, you know, when you're in the middle of like in the middle of a water fight, you don't have to run to the hose or anything to refill. You just got extra tanks that you've already filled up. So that's pretty cool. Try to get a nice up close look at that. And then, yeah, actually, let's see. I don't know how well this will come out, but it actually shows pictures of some of the other ones on the back, like the Super Soaker 20, which I forgot about, which is like a little mini pistol, the 200 down at the bottom, which has the handles like I was talking about. So yeah, they were just awesome. I remember I had the 50. I don't think I had the 100 growing up. And then how cool is this? This is a mini version of the MDS. It's a little keychain. Now, it was missing the little ring, so I replaced that. But this thing actually works, or at least I think it will. I got to put a little piece of tape on the top because it's missing the plug. But it'll actually like pump up and stuff. And that handle would have been what you would have turned. So this would have been like a later model, like I think like 95 or 94. So we'll get a nice little good up close look at that. How cool is that, huh? So if you want to annoy people on the go, you can have your house keys and, you know, still give one of your coworkers a good blast with this thing if they start mouthing off to you or something. So that's really cool. And there's a whole line of these. This is one of the vintage ones. There's the World's Smallest Toys have actually made some of the newer ones the same size, but this is one of the original vintage. So we'll even test that out and see if that works as well. But like I said, these things are just really iconic. I mean, they just have such a cool look to them. The tanks you can remove. We'll show you how this works real quick. So that just unscrews, almost like kind of like a Pepsi bottle, and you fill that up. And there's like the hose that gets the water. And you can really pump these things up a lot. Actually, the problem is you can over pump them, and they're really easy to break too. I remember these things would constantly crack growing up because they were just really, really flimsy. So you had to be careful with them. I think mine might have cracked too, constantly taping them up. So really, really, really awesome. And we'll take another look here at the Super Soaker 100. So that's basically the same thing, except in a size comparison, that's 25% larger than the 50. And then this is like a little air tank. You can remove that too, although I don't know why you'd want to. I guess it just started leaking or something. I don't really know why you need to remove that, but that gave it extra air, like it would store in here, so you could pump it up, and then there would still be like backup storage in that reserve tank. And just look at the size of this thing. And this isn't far from being one of their largest. So this is just a regular model, and this thing's still enormous. A little damage on the bottom. Somebody looks like they went at it with a saw or God only knows what with this thing, but still so freaking ridiculously cool. And like I said, if you were growing up in the 90s, you have to remember these. They're absolutely iconic. So let's go outside, let's fill these up with some water, let's see what they can do. Maybe we can knock over a couple of water bottles, see how well they shoot. Hopefully they still work. I've only tested one out so far, so I don't even know if the 100 works. I know the 50 works. We'll see how they work, and let's have some fun. All right, so I've got both of these Super Soakers all filled up. Let's give them a test run and see if I can knock down those two little plastic water bottles at the end of my driveway here. We'll see if these guys still work. So you just want to go ahead after you got it all filled up, pump this up by about a good 10 or 20 times. Make sure you get a lot of air filled up in there. All right, now let's see what I can hit. Ha-ha! First time, got them both down. And this is just the 50, so very, very good. I'm going to do that one more time from a little bit farther back behind the camera. Out of range. There we go. So that's about its maximum range. This thing it will really go for a long, long time. So very cool. Let's set them back up, and then we'll do the 100. Now, like I said, I don't know if this is going to work. This is actually kind of leaking a little bit, so here's hope. It's actually leaking a lot. All right, never fear, I do have a backup. Okay, so while I had some technical difficulties with the first one, let's swap out the tanks. Hopefully this will work a little bit better. Alright, not noticing any leaks so far, so let's pump this up. Alright, we got this thing ready to go. Let's give it a shot. All right, took him down, no problem. Well, that horrible screeching noise definitely isn't any fun, but this one definitely seems to hold up a lot better than the first one. And hey, what self-respecting toy collector wouldn't have two Super Soaker 100s in their collection anyway, so that came in pretty handy. So last but not least, although a little silly, let's try the keychain. Got this all filled up, and obviously I'm not going to be able to knock the bottles down, but you can see it shoots out pretty nice for a little keychain. And actually, I am going to set up one of the bottles and see if I can hit it from like 5 feet or so. See if this could do anything. So we'll try from like right here. Now look at that. That's the most powerful keychain you're ever going to see. Alright guys, well I hope you enjoyed this awesome review of all of the fun, broken, and crazy Super Soakers that I have in my collection. I hope you're having a great summer, and I hope this review wasn't all wet. I'll see you next time.
Hey guys, if you liked the video that you just watched, don't forget to hit that subscribe button down below, and you can follow me at Facebook at King of Retro or Twitter at #8ByteBrian. See you next time.